What is up, everyone? James Baek here, and welcome back to another episode of VGC 17 Back-to-Back Battles. We have another QR code team. Now, I do have a new team that is built for the series, but I do have to have some time to get the mods in-game. But luckily, since school is basically almost over for me, I only have one more school day left on Monday. I will be able to build a bunch of teams. We'll be able to start streaming more. So streaming is actually going to resume next week, which is pretty cool. So if you haven't already followed my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/JamesBeat1 for the new people who don't know my Twitch channel, I highly recommend giving it a follow to keep up with the live streams. But today, while I have to get that team in game, we're going to be showing off this QR code that actually came from a top 8 at a regional finish in the recent European regional with Matt Carter's team of Hariyama, Tapu Koko, Tapu Fini, Arcanine, Scizor, and Salamence. And, you know, we got some interesting picks. Hariyama, Scizor, and Salamence. Salamence used to be a bit more popular in the beginning of the format, but it started decreasing usage, obviously, because of the fact that there's, you know, Pokemon such as Tapu Fini, which weakened the Dragon-type move. And yeah, so we're going to be kicking off some battles with this team. I don't know exactly how this team plays, but it should be fun. I've used stuff that's kind of similar to this team, so I think I'll have maybe a decent shot. I don't know. We're going to find our first opponent from Japan with a 1622 rating. Pretty sure I faced this opponent before. With the team, a Kartana, Tapu Fini, Nihilego, Garchomp, Gastrodon, and a Arcanine. Okay. So Scizor looks really solid in the matchup if I can get rid of my opponent's Garchomp. Now, I am Electrum Z Tapu Koko. Let me just check my moveset real quick. Yeah, I'm just a standard Tapu Koko with Electrum Z, which could be nice because it could allow me to get rid of that Arcanine in one shot, or the Tapu Fini, which could also hurt my Scizor. Let's see, Asolva's Kartana also does a lot of work here. It's like very hard because I don't know what I want to exactly choose from this core that I have. I think I can lead. I actually want to try Hariyama Salamence out as a lead. I think that's pretty solid against my opponent. Have Scizor in the back. I think Tapu Koko is fine as my last Pokemon. So don't exactly know my reasoning here, but I think Salamence is great as a setup Pokemon here because of the fact it gets an Intimidate off, can start Dragon Dancing up, which could be pretty nice, as well as Hariyama's Elite for the Fake Out pressure, as well as to help against Kartana and Fake Out against Tapu Fini. I'm not sure my opponent's going to lead Tapu Fini against my team, but I could definitely see Tapu Fini being brought because of the fact that I have a lot of fairy weaknesses. So we're going to see Nihilego Kartana come out, which is A-okay for me. So I do have multiple options here. I do get the Intimidate off onto Kartana, which is very nice. Dragon Dancing up against the Nihilego would be swell here. And I think I do just want to go. I could Fake Out. Or I could Bulldoze. Bulldoze doesn't sound bad either. I could also just go for the Heavy Slam, but I don't think Heavy Slam is the correct play here. I do have Earthquake, so I think it's just very safe just to Dragon Dance turn 1 and Fake Out. Most Kartanas actually don't have a real big way of touching Salamence, so I do not mind this position I'm in. Tapu Fini is going to come out, which probably is expecting maybe the Fire type attack, which I do not mind because I get to Fake Out Nihilego, and now my Salamence is going to be pretty fast. Nihilego is going to protect, that's okay by me as well. So I get a basically free Dragon Dance up, and I still have my Earthquake available. Kind of wish this set kind of had the Supersonic Sky Strike instead of the Dragon Claws, especially since we have our own Tapu Fini. But hey, I'm not going to really complain too much about that. Don't know what my opponent's really going to do here, though. I'm not really worried about Nihilego. Again, I always have my Tapu Koko on the field. So you know what? I'm going to go for the Bulldoze right here. I think it's very safe because it catches Nihilego as well as a potential switch in. And I'll just protect Salamence right here. I kind of want to scout what Nihilego Fini are going to do. A Bulldoze could help lower the speed on Tapu Fini, which would be pretty nice. Well, I guess it doesn't really help me too much, but it catches the speed drop on Nihilego, which could be important. I think Bulldoze is just solid. Maybe Heavy Slam would have been fine. Not sure Bulldoze can knock out the Nihilego, but I would love that. We're going to see Tapu Fini actually switch out in a Kartana. I'm interested to know the reasoning behind that switch, as I will just protect Salamence, and unless you go for a Sludge Bomb, I'm pretty sure it's just a Power Gem or Hidden Power Ice that's coming out. Yep, Power Gem is going to go out into the Salamence here, and I am going to get a Bulldoze off, and that's a really solid Bulldoze here, because I do catch the Kartana on the switching, and bring the Nihilego down to its Focus Sash. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. As speed is going to fall for both of these Pokemon, I think I can pretty much just get a very free close combat and Dragon Claw off. Like, again, Kartana doesn't really threaten me too much. I guess if it does have the Z move, it can knock out Hariyama one shot. But then I can just bring in my Tapu Koko, and Tapu Koko can KO with his Z move. Oh, I have Tectonic Rage. Oh, I did not actually know that. But I'm just going to fire for Dragon Claw anyway, and just a close combat into Kartana. Nihilego's just going to protect. Maybe I should just set up a Dragon Dance there. It was kind of obvious. But we're going to go for a Dragon Claw into the protect. And let's see what the Kartana's going to go for. It's going to go for Smart Strike. So it does carry Smart Strike. Targets down my Salamence, which won't be able to pick up the KO. Nope. And we get rid of the Kartana for free. And that's a huge threat. I do not like playing against Kartanas ever. But Kartana does go down, which allows my Scizor more of a window of opportunity here. This Nihilego's already pretty low. The only problem is we do have lower special defense with our Hariyama now, but I think that's okay. That's okay with trade. Tapu Fini is going to come out, and I'm just going to Bulldoze protect. Like, I don't care if my Hariyama gets knocked out, because I get a free switch back in my Tapu Koko, so no matter what, this is the best play. Protecting Salamence, just going for a Bulldoze. If Hariyama goes down, I get my free switch into Koko. If not, I just basically get a Bulldoze off and knock out Nihilego and get to see my opponent's last Pokemon. Power Gem into the protect of the Salamence, as we're going to see Dazzling Gleam, so that probably confirms its specs from the Tapu Fini. Okay. As Hariyama survives that with the Assault Vest, and we will go for the Bulldoze here, which will be able to lower the speed of Tapu Fini by 1. And whatever's coming out, I probably will just go for Tectonic Rage into, because I don't have to Tectonic Rage, so that's the thing. I really don't have to Tectonic Rage. Let's see what comes out. It's Garchomp, actually. It depends on if it's Scarf Garchomp or not. Did my opponent have anything that can indicate? No, I don't think it's Scarf. I think I'm in a very solid position no matter what I do. Pretty sure Garchomp's just going to protect, and Tapu Fini's just going to go for a Dazzling Gleam here. I'm going to Bulldoze here, and I could go for my Z move, which I don't think hurts me. So I'm just going to Tectonic Rage to Garchomp and get as much chip damage as possible. I don't care if Garchomp goes for Protect. It's my best play no matter what, because I was expecting to Protect there because I thought Dazzling Gleam with specs, you pick up the knockout on both my Pokemon, so you're okay with taking some damage on Tapu Fini. But we are going to get the Tectonic Rage off, so this is going to target down to the Garchomp, and that's going to put it in range of my... It's going to put it in range of my Tapu Koko's Dazzling Gleam, or my Scizor Bullet Punch, to be honest. Ooh, looks like my opponent actually got greedy here, went for the Swords Dance, which I do not mind, because I have Scizor and Tapu Koko, so we should be in a very solid position. We get a Bulldoze off. Actually, Hariyama's faster than Tapu Fini after that first Bulldoze, and we actually knock out the Garchomp. Very solid Hariyama. As Dazzling Gleam is going to come out from my opponent. That's going to pick up the knockout on both my Pokemon. However, I am able to bring back my... Well, I don't think I've ever revealed anything but this lead, but I'm just going to bring back my top... I'm just going to bring out Tapu Koko, as well as my Scizor. So I don't know what my opponent was predicting when my opponent made the double out, like went into Tapu Fini and then doubled out. Maybe was scouting for Supersonic Sky Strike, I guess, because I think Tapu Fini is more valuable than Kartana at that point. But yeah, that makes more sense, to be honest. I think my opponent was scouting for the Z move, like was always worried about the Supersonic Sky Strike, which does make sense. Here I can just go for the Swords Dance here, as well as the Thunderbolt. There's no way for my opponent to win at this case. And we'll probably see like a forfeit or just a Thunderbolt go into Tapu Fini and finish off the job. So Tapu Fini goes down, and we will take a nice first victory with this team. kind of like it. Not gonna lie, I didn't expect to do much work with Mega Salamence. I mean, regular Salamence, because you know Salamence is a Pokemon that has really fallen because of the fact that Intimidate's so popular. Tapu Fini, Tapu Lele, Tapu Koko, all very popular Pokemon, as well as Porygon 2, which pretty much benefits to the reason why Salamence isn't really used. But we are able to take a nice victory for the first game, about 10 minutes into the episode. Not bad, not bad. We're going to continue and find some more games with this team and hopefully pick up some more wins. I mean, it's pretty interesting. Like, Scizor is an interesting Pokemon in this format. You don't really see Scizor much anymore. A notable person who's been using Scizor was Nails at the Toronto Regional Championship, I believe got top 32 if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was top 16, but I know he went X2 at that regional, so he missed top cut, and he had a really cool Choice Banded Scizor. Yeah, I think that's the only person, other than Matt Carter, of course, who did get top 8 at the recent Birmingham regionals. I don't know how to pronounce it, so don't question me. I haven't actually looked up the regional itself. I just watched the videos as we find someone from Japan. But yeah, so Scizor is a bit interesting. Of course, Arcanine is one of the most is probably the most popular Pokemon in the format, which is why Scizor can't really thrive. It also has lost a lot of usage in losing Bug Bite and Superpower, which are really some strong options, as well as the knockoff. So yeah, if it got knockoff, it would actually be pretty good. I mean, it does get Thief, but that requires Scizor to, you know, lose its item. So our second opponent has a Garchomp, Celesteela, Gastrodon, Marowak, Porygon 2, and Tapu Koko. So a bit more offensive with this team. Porygon 2 is a bit troublesome. I think I want to go Tapu Fini Arcanine as the lead for this one. Yeah, Tapu Fini Arcanine seems pretty solid. Have Scizor in the back, I think, and have Tapu Koko as my last Pokemon. Salamence is okay here too, but it doesn't have any coverage for Celesteela, which is why I want Tapu Koko in the back. Maybe I should have let something different. Maybe Tapu Koko plus Arcanine would have been more solid. I'm a bit more scared of the Marowak or a Garchomp, at least potentially. So this is the reason why I want to go my Tapu Fini Arcanine. Very safe lead, I feel like, against my opponent's entire team. Unless it's like Garchomp Tapu Koko, which could be coming, so we'll see here. Okay, it's Gastrodon on Porygon 2. So I'm actually going to go for Thief onto Porygon 2 right away, since I actually do have Misty Seed on my Arcanine. As well as the... Yeah, I have Thief. I have Misty Seed on this Arcanine, so Misty Seed pops up. So Arcanine loses its item, and I'm able to Thief away the Porygon 2's item. So getting rid of a Violet is huge, because his team doesn't exactly have the best answers against Porygon 2. Other than like Brick Break Scizor, which I don't know about Brick Break, to be honest. Porygon 2 basically at neutral with all attacks. I'm going to Calm Mind up and just Thief the Porygon 2. I don't care what Gastrodon does. I have a +1 Arcanine, so we're in a pretty solid position. If I can get rid of that item on Porygon 2, I am kind of scared if Porygon 2 does withdraw, because I do really want that item on Porygon 2, if possible. And nice, we are able to get it, so we'll get a Thief. So we're going to get rid of that Violet on Porygon 2. So Porygon 2 is a lot less bulkier now, as we will get our Calm Mind up with our Tapu Fini. So now we're at +1, and we'll see what this Gastrodon does. Maybe it's Stockpile, which would be annoying for this team. This team doesn't have a good answer to Stockpile. Thunderbolt's going to come out onto Tapu Fini, but not really doing too much. As a Scald's going to come out, but with the Misty Seed boost, we should be able to take, yeah, not much damage at all, actually. And I think I could just Calm Mind up again and just protect Arcanine, I think. Yeah, because I want to keep Arcanine healthy as possible in case I have to go into a Celesteela War. And I believe with another Calm Mind, a +2 Moonblast plus Flare Blitz should knock out the Porygon 2, so we're in a solid position no matter what. I don't want something like a Return and a Scald knocking out my Arcanine, because the worst Gastrodon can really do the Tapu Fini is if it carries Sludge Bomb. So I will just protect you. I don't care if my opponent sets the Trick Room. Like, my opponent doesn't exactly have the best way to counter my Tapu Fini right now. So I am A-okay if my opponent sets up Trick Room. I am A-okay. As well as I have my Scizor, which could do some work potentially. As Thunderbolt's going to go back into the Porygon 2, probably trying to weaken me for like a Garchomp in the back. Let's see what the Gastrodon goes for. It goes for a Scald again into my Arcanine. And I'm just going to fire off some Moonblast into that Porygon 2. Or I can Moonblast Gastrodon. Gastrodon is a threat. I think I want to get rid of Porygon 2 though, so I'm just going to Flare Blitz Moonblast. So we're going to get the Flare Blitz off. This should do a solid amount. We're not intimidated or anything. And I think we'll live one Scald. Oh, we did a lot more than I thought. We might not survive the Scald after the recoil. But Moonblast is going to finish off the Porygon 2, so Porygon 2 does go down. So that's a solid Pokemon out of the way because Porygon 2 is quite a threat. As Scald is going to come out, Arcanine I think should survive this. Yes, we do survive. Okay. So not too bad for my game plan, but we'll see what comes out. Not exactly the best green screen. Garchomp is going to come out. And I am kind of worried about my opponent going for Swords Dance here. I mean, I would probably Swords Dance. Well, then again, there is Moonblast. Scizor's not really valuable as much anymore due to the fact that I already got rid of my opponent's Porygon 2, which was Scizor's probably main job. We're gonna actually see Protect from Garchomp, probably scouting for Protect from my Tapu Fini for the Tectonic Rage, but that is okay with me. That's okay with me. Scald is gonna come back out into the Scizor, but I don't mind Scizor taking really any damage at all because I don't need Scizor as much for the game. I need Tapu Fini around because Tapu Fini is gonna win me this game most likely. I will just Moonblast the Garchomp, and I'll switch out into Arcanine here because I really don't need Arcanine in this game anymore. I feel like all I need is to get my berry with Tapu Fini, and then we should be good for the rest of the game. So I am going to intimidate this Garchomp. Scizor switched out, so Garchomp, yep, just going to fire for Tectonic Rage. And as long as this doesn't crit me, we should survive with Tapu Fini. I'm hoping this does put me into the berry range though. I mean, it should, because Garchomp's a very strong Pokemon. I don't know how bulky this Tapu Fini is, but I'm pretty sure Tectonic Rage at -1 should put me in that berry range. So let's see. Luckily, he didn't Swords Dance. Oh, nice, nice. We actually just barely survived, which is actually perfect, because I do get that Moonblast off into the Garchomp. So Garchomp goes down 100%. So Garchomp goes down to the +2 Moonblast. 2 for 2 Pokemon, as we are going to see the Scald come out into the Arcanine. So Arcanine is going to go down, a bit unfortunately. But it comes down to my opponent's last Pokemon. I mean, my opponent doesn't have a Z move anymore. I'm going to go down to Celesteela. It's actually Marowak as my opponent's last Pokemon. Okay. So I can Muddy Water here. This is quite confusing actually, because I don't know what I want to do exactly. I think I'm just gonna double protect. I didn't need my Koko Z move at all in this game. Koko apparently wasn't a Pokemon to bring, but Celesteela was just such an annoying issue. I could double protect here. I do kind of want to scout out for Marowak's protect if it goes for it, so I will just protect. If my opponent goes for substitute, that's a very hard read, and I would commend my opponent greatly. But I want to scout what Gastrodon potentially has, if it's toxic or anything. As Marowak just going to go for Shadow Bone into Tapu Fini as Recover. Okay, so I think my opponent was expecting the... Moonblast into Gastrodon, expecting Marowak's Protect, but I'm just going to go for Muddy Water here. Don't know my opponent expects me to have Muddy Water. I mean, I think you should. Okay, if we don't miss Muddy Water on Marowak, I think that's game. Oh, it's Moringa Berry on Gastrodon. That's okay. Storm Drain. Well, what we need to do. Nice. Okay, we do connect with the Marowak, which is huge. That's a huge target. Marowak will be able to go down to this +2 Muddy Water. And now it's this Gastronaut +1 versus the world. Gonna start off the game with Recover. I mean, my opponent has to get rid of Tapu Fini, right? The Tapu Koko's not really doing much to my opponent. So I think I'll just fire off a Moonblast once again. And go hard into my Scizor. I'll go hard in my Scizor and start Swords Dancing, but my opponent's actually just going to forfeit, which is very nice of my opponent, as we will be taking 2 games with this team so far. Pretty nice. I'm kind of liking how this team kind of plays. Scizor is actually, well, Scizor actually hasn't done any work. It's just been everything else with combinations, but I'm pretty sure we'll find that game that Scizor enjoys. Maybe it's against like one of those teams with Nihilego and Kartana. But then again, Scizor is really hard to bring when every team basically has an Arcanine, to be completely honest. Or a Celesteela as a solid answer to Scizor. But we'll be right back with our third battle. I'm just going to grab my charger real quick. Alright, we're back. We're back. And we're going to be doing one last game with this team. Oh, I did not mean to say that battle video. Whatever. Whatever. But yeah, Iron Plate on Scizor is interesting. I don't know if it helps to get any KOs. Maybe I'll do some calcs afterwards, but not sure. Bullet Punch. Maybe it's specifically to one-shot Nihilego and Tapu Lele potentially, if at neutral, which could definitely be an interesting option. But yeah. Okay, so I'm actually going to look up some things about this team because I didn't exactly check everything about this team. Well, I kind of used all 6 Mons, but I just wanted to check the abilities real quick. Yeah, it is Thick Fat on Hariyama, which does help with Arcanine switch-ins. We're going to find our last opponent from Austria with a 1581 rating with the team of Tapu Koko, Tapu Fini, Arcanine, Nihilego, Kartana, and Gigalith. Another Trick Room Nihilego, I think. But Scizor is actually pretty good here if I am able to get Swords Dance up and knock out that Arcanine. So, unfortunately, Tapu Fini is not exactly the most solid answers to that, because Tapu Fini would actually be very solid here as well. But a Pokemon that's really catching my eye here is my Hariyama. Hariyama can do some solid work against my opponent's team if I play my cards correctly. So, how do I want to play this? I don't think Dragon Dancing up is the smartest call in this game. Tapu Fini is so nice here, but I don't think I can bring it. I think I want to go Hariyama Tapu Koko, since it does seem like a pretty solid lead against my opponent. I can one-shot a lot of things, or just threaten a lot of things with the combination of Heavy Slam plus a strong Electric type move. Scizor in the back is pretty solid, and I have to get rid of that Arcanine. But I'm also weak to that Kartana potentially, so I'm going to bring my Arcanine in the back, just as an extreme speed measure, since extreme speed could be helpful. I'm not really worried about needing my Misty Seed, but sometimes I could also Thief an item, but I don't think Thief is going to be helpful, unless it's maybe like a Berry on Tapu Fini in case I don't one-shot it with my Z move. So, let's see what my opponent is going to bring out. We will lead our Hariyama and Tapu Koko here, which is very solid, I think. Arcanine and Nihilego. Now, I think everyone knows that the biggest threat to my team is that Arcanine, so I will go for the turn 1 Z move. Don't underestimate me. If I can KO this Arcanine, that is very huge for me. So I'm going to go for my Z move. And most people will say, oh, turn 1 Z move, that's not exactly that great here. I think it's very solid, because if Tapu Fini decides to switch in, which it shouldn't by any stretch of the imagination, we will be able to KO that. I'll just fake out the Nihilego to break a potential Sash. We're going to see Nihilego protect, and I'm pretty sure Arcanine's just going to go for an attack here. If it protects, yeah, I didn't think it was. So I could have faked out the Arcanine, but not too big of a deal, because, again, I'm going for this KO onto the Arcanine. I'm hoping the Z move can KO. Depends on the Arcanine spread. If it's like a Careful Nature or Adamant with like really, really high special defense investment, it shouldn't be living. But we'll go for the Gigavolt Havoc here. Once I get rid of this monster, I should be able to just sweep with my Scizor potentially. So Gigavolt Havoc, that does KO out. Barely. Should have just faked out. Oh, Bulldoze. Okay. Huh. Okay. Which is strange, because I thought it would be a Trick Room coming out from my opponent, but that's not going to be the case. Ooh. Interesting. Interesting. So I'm going to actually just fire off a Bulldoze back, because I don't see a reason not to. And I'm just going to protect Tapu Koko. If he wants to Bulldoze, he can... Actually, it's strange. Bulldoze on a Berry Arcanine. Usually you only see Bulldoze on an AV Arcanine. Huh. So that's a bit interesting. Well, I'll just go for the Bulldoze here because it does hit Nihilego as well as Tapu Fini if it wants to switch in. As I will just protect my Tapu Koko here as Sludge Bomb's going to go out into Hariyama, but I do not mind that personally. As I think a Flare Blitz is going to go into Tapu Koko. Yep. As I will get a Bulldoze off, so basically we're going to be at the same speed tiers, my friend. Same speed tiers, my friend. Bulldoze, oh my lord, that did a lot to Nihilego. Jeez. That did a lot. That did a lot. But here, oh man, getting rid of this Arcanine is my key. I'm not sure if Arcanine's going to protect here, but I will just Thunderbolt Nihilego since it should pick up the knockout at that range and close combat the Arcanine, which Nihilego protects. Huh. Okay. I don't mind, because I will gladly trade my Tapu Koko. Oh, another Bulldoze? Okay. Which I do not mind. I really don't mind these Bulldoze. As I will be able to knock out the Arcanine here with the -1 close combat. Yep. So Arcanine goes down. That's one very huge threat out of the way. And now my Scizor is looking fantastic in this game. All I need to do is get set up safely, which could be hard. Tapu Fini is probably going to be coming in if I had to imagine. Oh, Kartana is going to come in. Huh, okay. Not the Pokemon I was expecting, but I'll take it. The Nihilego is already pretty weakened, so I think I'm just going to switch out into Hariyama. I mean, yeah, I'm going to switch out Hariyama into my Arcanine, and I think I'm just going to protect my Tapu Koko. Huh. I could also go for the free switch into my Arcanine, which wouldn't be terrible. I'm just expecting the Power Gem into one of my slots. Maybe I should just Bulldoze here and protect my Koko, because I do want my Koko alive, because Koko is very valuable for the Tapu Fini. So you know what, I'm going to protect here. Very safe play. As we're going to see the Z move come out from my opponent. It's going to be the Bloom Doom. Okay, I don't know who that's targeting. If that's into Kartana. Okay, if that's into Koko, that's kind of bad. That's into Koko, that's kind of bad. It might be into the Hariyama though. Although I think I'm pretty sure Leaf Blade. Oh, probably expecting my Arcanine to switch into the Koko slot, which makes sense. As, yeah, I think that was the case. We're going to see Hariyama go down, which is fine. Beast Boost is going to activate for the Kartana, get its attack rise, and a Power Gem, yep, into the Koko slot. I don't know if my opponent double targeted Hariyama. I think that would have been the smartest call, since he most likely assumed that Hariyama would be an Assault Vest. I go into Arcanine. Yeah, I think Arcanine's fine here. Arcanine's fine here. Getting Intimidate off into this Kartana. This is kind of where it hurts, where I don't know how bulky this Arcanine is, because I had to take 2 neutral Sacred Swords probably. Yeah, so I'm going to go for Flare Blitz into Nihilego, because I'm more worried about the Nihilego at this point. And switch Koko hard into my Scizor, because we're getting Koko is slow right now. As we're going to see the switch out into Tapu Koko from my opponent's side. Ooh, I don't mind this trade, actually. I don't mind this trade. Because Flare Blitz should put it in the range of Bullet Punch. And then I can Flare Blitz the Kartana the following turn. Oh, but the problem is Sacred Sword. Oh, but my opponent actually goes for a Leaf Blade. Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. Scizor and Arcanine. That's a crit. Scizor and Arcanine should actually clean up this game from here. Flare Blitz will go out into the Tapu Koko slot. That's definitely Bullet Punch range. That is definitely Bullet Punch range. Beautiful. Beautiful. I will Flare Blitz this Kartana into Oblivion, and I'll Bullet Punch the Koko. I have no reason not to make this play. No matter what, even if my opponent switches out either slot, gets KO'd, I'm threatening a double knockout here. And yeah, my opponent can't win unless Sacred Sword crit knocks out Arcanine. So I'm hoping I don't jinx this. But even then, I think maybe Scizor could win with my Tapu Koko pair next to it. So Tapu Koko does go down. So we're going to see the Sacred Sword, and it's going to go out into Scizor. Crit wouldn't have actually knocked out Scizor, so Flare Blitz will finish off the Kartana, and we will win this game. Scizor coming in through, not bad. Scizor, like, it's actually been interesting. Scizor's been hanging around the back, and, you know, by the time, Scizor really didn't get to do much. But this time, like, Scizor is actually cleaning up the game, alongside Arcanine, of course, but, yeah. Ironically, it's the Pokemon that's keeping Scizor away. That's the one that's assisting the Scizor in doing its work. And yeah, I'll just Flare Blitz and Bullet Punch. I have no reason not to. If it was Tapu Fini, it would have been a harder game. But Bullet Punch will finish out this Nihilego, and we will take 3 wins with this team. Very nice. So Scizor putting in a lot of work. Salamence putting a lot of work in the first game. Hariyama showcasing a lot of potential here with that Bulldoze set. As well as Calm Mind Fini doing a lot of work. But I think we all know that Calm Mind Fini can still put in a lot of work against some bulkier teams. But anyway, that is it for today's episode of VGC 17 Back-to-Back Battles. If you want to try out Matt Carter's team, there's a QR code down below, along with the previous episodes of VGC 17 Back-to-Back Battles if you have missed them, as well as my social medias, my side series, and as always, if you enjoyed the series, please leave a like down below. It shows your support, as well as if you want to say something to me, feel free to leave a comment down below. And yeah, streams will be returning soon, probably next week, and I hope to see you there. I'll see you around in another video.